calling the National Guard. She refused. Capitol Police asked her directly for more security. She refused. So if there's more to it than what you think. But I watched that entire speech that he gave, and there was not one thing in there. Now, he wanted to go and support the Republicans, and the Secret Service refused to take him. Now, it could be a number of things, but at the minimum, the Secret Service looks at uncontrolled environments like that, and it's more work for them. They didn't have time to plan, so that's why they didn't take him. But not because he wanted to go and cause a disturbance. He wanted to go and support.
All right. One.
Let me ask you this question. Oil. You said somebody was sentenced for insurrection?
No, I did not.
Okay. I was just trying to clarify.
Just charged. Now, my next question is this.
Well, hold on. Before we get off that, also one more thing. Do you agree?
Same topic.
It's the same topic. So, do you agree that United States citizens should be held in solitary confinement without due process?
No, not without due process. Hold on. Not without due process. Typically,
they haven't had a bond hearing. They haven't had a bond hearing. They do not. They're not allowed to visit.
Hold up. Bond hearing has nothing to do with, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but a bond hearing has nothing to do with due process.
Yes, it does.
Well, typically, let me finish. What typically happens is when you get arrested, the very next morning, you have a court date. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, you have an arraignment.
Okay, arraignment. What I'm saying.
So you get arrested, you get charged. If you're held, then you get an arraignment. Once the arraignment is done and you get a court date, then you are required to have a bond hearing within 48 hours. That's the law.
All right. Out of all the times I've been arrested, so let me tell you at least my experience. When I got arrested, the day, let's say I got arrested yesterday, I was in court the next morning. All right. They had to charge me, I believe it was in 14 days. By my 41st day, it had to be some type of state picture up or whatever you call it. There's certain things they have to meet at a certain point. You got to reach a certain point. Otherwise, you can turn around, you can file a habeas corpus and get armed charges thrown up off you.
Right. I used to work for the court system.
You got a right of a speedy trial. So if you want to, so if you want a 3-month speedy trial, they have to honor that. If they don't, you can file a paper from your jail cell and have that.
Let me explain something.
So as far as the people that have been arrested, 185 individuals, or only a quarter of those arrested, 185 individuals have received criminal sentencing. A lot of these have been low-level offenses like illegally parading or demonstrating in the Capitol, which is a misdemeanor. And then it goes into, individual cases where, like this guy, for instance, Robert Scott Palmer, 63 months in prison for assaulting police officers with wooden planks and a fire extinguisher. Devlin Thompson, what the hell did he do? He tried to throw another assault on a police officer. Lonnie Leroy Kaufman. So
let me add this to you guys for a second. When I was in jail, I spent 7 months in county jail in Jacksonville, Florida. I had a court date every Wednesday.
Apparently, he was guilty of he pleaded guilty to possession of unregistered weapons and was sentenced to 46 months in prison.
And talk about the ones that are still being held in solitary without bail.
I was sitting in there for nearly 6 months. Come to find out, my governor appointment lawyer waived a right that I had as my 41st day. Some type of right, I can't think of what it's called. Waived that particular right. They scheduled me a court date every Wednesday. My charge, at my 6th month, I filed the DA asked for a 30-day extension. I gave them that. Apparently, he either forgot or whatever. I don't know what it was. When I refiled my paperwork, they judge got on their ass because they was asking why is it that it took so long for me to see a judge? Why did I have a court date every week for however long it was and never saw him? And come to find out, they had the evidence that I was innocent. But they would never present it.
So
they never gave it to my.
Hey, Oil, you remember that crazy fucker with the buffalo helmet?
Yeah, the QAnon shaman.
Yeah, the QAnon shaman. So he pleaded guilty to one charge, which was obstruction of an official proceeding. 41 months in prison.
How many?
41 months in prison for obstruction of an official proceeding.
I don't agree with that. I think that sentence is way too long. Personally,
all of them are.
Oh, I don't like that. They all deserve, like, the people that are going to prison for these crimes, like assaulting police officers, the obstruction of an official proceeding. Like, by all means, throw them in prison. I don't give a fuck.
Yep.
But what I am looking at is what the FBI deemed this event to be, and the facts of the cases that are coming out of these hearings. There's, like, if none of them are charged with anything relating to an insurrection, then it was not one.
But here's the thing. I personally, I care less about the terminology itself. That's me personally. Always have, never have. Don't care whether you call it insurrection, or you can call it a riot. I don't know. You can call it a rally. You can call it whatever you want to call it.
I mean, think of it this way. There's 840 people were arrested. Let's see. Where the fuck was I reading?
You said something about 185.
So 185 people have received charges. Majority of those were misdemeanors. Besides a few, like I just read off, that were actually serious charges that had to do with assaulting. So the longest charge was the severe assaulting of officers, right? That was the most severe charge, and it had to do with assaulting a police officer. There's still 185 minus 840. So whatever that number is, that's how many people are left awaiting, their proceedings.
Let me ask y'all. Let me say